is here. This is the main event, Mark's Podcast Bonus Edition on the Unhinged Sports Network. I am your first host, lifelong wrestling fan, and Ohio native, Troy. And with me, as always, is my bro from the Bay. He is the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia and the main event collector. He is the Kane to my Undertaker. He's Greg. What's up, Greg?
Or nobody's ever going to buy you as him, but anyways.
Hey, well, you're in the Hall of Fame before I am. We are here for our April bonus show, and I've been wanting to talk about this show for a while, not particularly because it was like an outstandingly amazing, holy crap, I remember all the moments, you know, but...
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't grade any of the matches, so... Just...
Oh, okay, yeah, I was going to ask you that up front.
Because there were really no grades to give.
I put star ratings, but at the same time I was like, should I even put star ratings? Because, I mean, the longest match is 8.5 minutes, and there's like, what, 4 matches on the whole card? And
Well, you know, the Attitude Era is all about moments.
Yeah, it really is, because I was like, man, I completely forgot about, because as a kid I didn't think anything of it, but like, watching it back as an adult, I'm like, is there any wrestling on this wrestling show? Or is it just people talking crap the whole time?
Bro, nobody cares about wrestling, bro.
Bro, it's all about the talking, bro. So anyway, we're gonna dive into all that as we talk about the 83-week snapper. The reign of Nitro on top was officially over as of tonight. It's not like I think they won again, what, twice?
Oh no,
maybe?
they kept trading off. It was never, yeah.
Did they? Oh, okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember because there was a certain point where they were like, you know, WWE pulled ahead and I think Nitro won like once more. I feel like a lot of people
believe like they never won again after this. It's really misunderstood.
Well,
they
and
never won again after the Finger Poke of Doom, if I'm correct.
No, okay. Was that 99 or was that 98?
Yeah, it was the first show of 99.
No, hell of a way to kick off the year. But anyway, well, we have a lot to get into with the show itself, so real quick before we get into our first break, Main Event Marks is sponsored by Fubo TV and Fanatics. If you're looking to cut the cord and get rid of your overpriced cable, then look no further than Fubo TV. They provide over 100 channels, cloud DVR, no early cancellation fees, and you can sign up for your free trial today. And Fanatics, they are officially licensed sports gear from the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, PGA, and NASCAR. If you want to click on the links down in the description.
Oh, yeah, I need a new Jeff Gordon shirt.
Well, we have a mutual friend that, you know, he needs a new Jeff Gordon shirt. Anyway, click on the links down in the podcast description. Let them know Main Event Marks and the Unhinged Sports Network sent you.
Seriously, Fanatics rules, man. I mean, I'm not even showing this because I have to. I've legit used this since before this, so yeah, it's amazing.
Subscribe and review. Leave a 5-star review. Tell us how much you love us and all that good stuff. And, yeah. But anyway, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're diving into the news and notes of the time.
Oh, this will be good.
It definitely will. We'll be right back.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. It's the very best of professional wrestling's past every Monday on
Retro Wrestling Review.
I'm your host, Troy, and together we'll hop on my time-traveling wrestling ring and watch along to the greatest matches from yesteryear in the sport of kings.
As complex, as controversial, and as brilliant, really, as he is.
On Triple R, we'll cover matches from across the world, including American territories, Canada, Mexico, and Japan.
Fast action, lots more than that.
You'll learn some things, find out about wrestlers and matches you never even knew about, and we'll have some laughs. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Retro Wrestling Pod. Retro Wrestling Review is available wherever you get podcasts, including YouTube, served up fresh every Monday morning.
Unbelievable! The crowd absolutely stunned!
Event marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we are back. Time to dive into the news and notes for our bonus episode of April. And, getting my wings on.
Well, tight on that. I already cracked my coffee, but I have it though.
Oh, do you have one of those pop-top coffees?
I do. I get them for when I'm not going anywhere for a while, or I'm going to be home.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I cracked my Red Bull open, so gotta get energized for this one. First story, how much Antonio Inoki have you ever watched? Because I know you don't watch a lot of international stuff.
Just the stuff with Blair and the match with Muhammad Ali.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you watched that?
Well, I felt I had to.
I haven't seen it yet.
I try to fancy myself a wrestling historian, so I feel like you should at least see it.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to, just because I like to, I'm a bad boy and I deserve it. But
I think you should go for your show.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, my Monday show, which we advertised during the breaks, Retro Wrestling Review. I will definitely watch it one of these days.
It's not great. I'm going to be honest with you. It's borderline decent.
Yeah. Well, neither guy wanted to sell. So
the problem is Muhammad Ali was like a legit badass and killed him if he wanted to.
And the thing is, people were pointing out there like, well, Antonio Inoki was a legit badass, but the thing is, like, if Ali got a hit in on him, he had a good chance. But if Antonio Inoki hooked him, Ali was a boxer, and that was it. It's like throw a boxer into the MMA ring. You know what I mean?
We've seen this. James Toney against Randy Couture, or it was not pretty. I think it was 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's bad. But anyway, Antonio Inoki wrestled his alleged final match this week and officially retired at a huge show at the Tokyo Dome in front of a crowd of an announced 70,000 fans. Although Uncle Dave says that you just simply cannot pack that many people into the Tokyo Dome, so the actual number is less than that.
Wait, what?
I know. I know. That's why I was like, whoa, what? This is the only time where I will say, well, if Uncle Dave is disputing the number, it's probably not correct.
Holy.
I know.
Just, wow. I feel like he would inflate it. Well, they said 70, but I'm pretty sure it was at least 80.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say this, at least for once he's being honest here, because no, I don't think you can jam 70,000 people in the Tokyo Dome. Even if you remove the stage and the ring, I don't think you can fit that many people in there. So, yeah, it's gotta be wrong. However, they did say it was a legit sellout, just not 70,000. And the gate was around $7 million, plus another $2.6 million in merchandise. Speaking of Ali, Muhammad Ali.
To me, but it is Muhammad Ali, but.
Yeah, and Antonio Inoki was like.
Well, that goes without saying, yeah. So that's why I didn't even say it.
Yeah, right. Well, Muhammad Ali did appear at the show, lighting a ceremonial torch and handing it to Inoki as he made his entrance. Several other historical wrestling figures who have been associated with Inoki throughout his career were also there. Pretty sure this was his swan song, so. I
was going to ask you that, was it actually his retirement?
I'm pretty sure it was. I don't think he wrestled at all after this. I mean, especially, and I hate when wrestlers do this. It's like, if a company gives you a beautiful send-off, and I realize this was Inoki's company, so it was himself giving himself a great send-off, but still, like the Ric Flair thing at WrestleMania 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the WrestleMania 24 thing. And then, it was beautiful, and it was memorable, and it choked me up multiple times, everything they did for him. And then he ruins it by going to TNA and bleeding and getting naked.
Yeah, but to be fair, nobody saw it, so it's like, if a tree falls in the woods,
Oh my gosh. I would dispute you on that, but if anybody listens to the lockdown show we did this week, he's not wrong. I mean, when I talked about the attendance and the buy rate for that lockdown pay-per-view in 2011, I was like, that is a horrible number by any metric. And this was before streaming. I mean, streaming was a thing, but you really had to hunt for it back then. Like, this wasn't just like easy access stream. Alright, this one, man. Well, I guess we'll get the ECW stuff out of the way first.
Anytime you lead off with this one, man, it's not good.
Well, Scott Hall was backstage at an ECW show.
God.
It was near where he lives, plus he was visiting his friend Just Incredible. That sentence still makes me laugh, that Scott Hall and Just Incredible were good friends. Yeah, good enough friends, by the way, where he would show up backstage at ECW to see him.
He signed with ECW, wrestled a few times.
Yeah, I remember he popped up in a few shows, but, yeah, I guess when Hall was backstage, he was confronted by Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Chris Candido, all of whom had well-known problems with Hall backstage in his WWF days. It was
Wasn't it just the Click, but he was, like, there?
Yeah, I guess. I guess a lot of people had issues with Shane Douglas, because allegedly they said Yoko went off on him one time on a tour bus. So, I don't know. Because
spit his pro Steelers crap and couldn't wrestle it.
Right. Yeah, so. And here's my thing. Like, I love Shane Douglas. Obviously, we've established I'm a mark for him. And I liked, Chris Candido's work. But do you think if they didn't have Bam Bam Bigelow backing them up, they would confront Scott Hall to his face?
Maybe Candido. I feel like he might have a little man complex, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like he would have got slapped the F out. Really.
Well, no, you didn't ask that.
Well, yeah. That is true. He got me there. But it was said to be a tense situation, with Douglas in particular getting in Hall's face, screaming at him, and Bigelow backing him up. What did I tell you? Saying that they didn't want him in the ECW locker room. Hall eventually called a cab, and he left after a few minutes. And as he was leaving, Francine yelled at him to get in line and buy a ticket like the rest of the marks. This led to a funny moment where Tommy Dreamer had walked in the room as Hall was leaving, and, not aware of the tense situation that had just happened, jovially offered Hall a ride home. I love that. Like, everybody's like, get the F out of here, screw you, get out. And Tommy Dreamer walks in, he's like, hey man, you need a ride home? I don't know why the thought of that just makes me laugh. Look, I've talked crap about, I'm not a huge fan of Tommy Dreamer's in-ring stuff, whatever, but he seems like the nicest guy in the world.
I've met him like 45 times, and yeah, he is.
Yeah, so.
That's not something like, oh, I met him Butch. It's just like he's at every freaking show.
Right.
If you haven't met Tommy Dreamer here yet, you clearly don't go to indie shows. The Fool is everywhere.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I was backstage with him at an indie show that I did production for. So I got to see him interacting with people, and he seemed like a cool dude, but I kind of wish I would have got a chance to meet him. The funniest statement of all this that I thought was, Francine is like, get in line and buy a ticket like the rest of them mark. With your millions of dollars that you make.
I was gonna say, so what? He expects that all 80 tickets haven't been sold yet, or what?
Right. It's like, yeah, I'll buy a ticket to the seat that you got right by the bathroom so you can sell the place out.
Yeah, right. You think you sit by the bathroom? We'll be sitting by the bar, but whatever.
Wow, that is true. Well, that was a story one time that they held a show in a bar, and he was there at the bar during the show.
Oh, I am shocked.
Yeah, I know. And most of the crowd cared about him and was ignoring the matches in the ring to the point of where Bubba Ray Dudley stopped wrestling and got on the mic and called him out.
Yeah, Bubba Ray Dudley wrestles anyway.
Wow. Sandman and Sabu were.
Bully Ray was good. Okay? Bubba Ray was not that great. Sorry.
The tag team together was good, but yeah, I had no interest in seeing Bubba by himself. Sandman and Sabu were suspended by ECW for a few days, causing them to miss the weekend shows. I am so shocked.
Hope they didn't lose out on that $40.
It apparently is due to a recent incident where several hotel rooms registered to them were trashed, causing
everything you're saying I have no problem believing.
Nope. Causing all ECW wrestlers to be banned from the hotel. Others were involved too, but Sandman and Sabu ended up taking the heat and had to pay for the damages. Well, yeah, because Paul, he ain't paying for that.
Well, he would. I mean, but it wouldn't clear. Check.
Yeah, he's like, look, it's coming out of your check. And they're like, what check?
This one that I'm about to write you, and, the bank's going to throw you in jail for passing another bad one.
Right. Oh my gosh, ECW, man. Speaking of ECW, Rob Van Dam won the...
People like this crap, that's the thing.
Yep.
I'm sorry to turn people off saying that, but man, it was terrible.
Oh, I had a mutual friend send me a clip of ECW, and I trashed it. He was like, "Don't be a Greg." And I said, I'm on his side with this one. That's garbage.
I know the old joke that Jerry Lawler always made, extremely crappy wrestling.
Yeah.
You know why I didn't agree with it? Because he ended it with the word wrestling.
My favorite line, I can't remember if it was him or Cornette that said it, but they said ECW arena was made out of toilet paper because everything in it was crap.
It might have been Jerry Lawler. He said this place should be filled with toilet paper because it's full of shit.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, okay.
He said it in the arena, though.
Yes. Well, that's why I said I couldn't remember who did it, because I think that was the week that him and Cornette showed up at the same time with the lights out. Or it might have been the week before. I know he did it a couple times, and Cornette was with him once.
I don't think Cornette hates ECW, honestly.
Oh, he does.
Well, I feel like whenever I hear him talk, he doesn't, speak ill of it. He praises a lot of the wrestlers.
Oh, yeah, he likes the wrestlers. He hated the product. Well, he likes some of the wrestlers, I should say. He liked, Candido, and I think he was so on Sabu and a couple others. But, yeah, all in all, he said the product ruined wrestling in the 90s, so I don't know.
And WCW took over in 2000 for ruining. Got it.
Rob Van Dam won the ECW title from Bam Bam Bigelow last week in a match that many said was by far the best ECW match of the year. Faint praise.
I'm going to just stop you. I think you mean TV title, right?
What did I say?
ECW title.
Okay, yes, TV title. Thank you.
Because, RVD was not good enough to hold the ECW title in its initial run for some odd reason.
Yeah, no, Sandman has to hold that one for whatever reason. Yeah, no, the ECW TV title actually mattered for a while, whereas the world title was just...
Because of Van Dam, but yes.
Yeah. Van Dam, Bigelow, a couple other people, but mostly Van Dam. He had the best matches of the night every time. But anyway, saying it was the best match of the year, it's like, you can say that's highway robbery, but that's, petty theft. He would hold on to that title for the next 700 days and become the longest reigning champion of any title in ECW history. And we talked about he had to surrender that title because he broke his ankle. So he didn't even lose.
But he did come back and have an epic feud with Scotty Anton, so...
Oh, did Anton turn on him, or did he turn on Anton? Yeah, because, when I think of guys who should headline, I think of Scotty Riggs. That's who it was, by the way.
Miraculously, he got his eyeball back in ECW.
Right, yeah. Well, everybody, if... this is funny to say because, whatever, but he was the other American male.
Yeah, I like Buffaloes.
Yeah. I've only got a couple more ECW stories that involve injuries here. This one, I'm sure you'll have a lot to say about it.
There's a list that has injuries.
Well, Devon Dudley was injured over the weekend from, quote, taking a nut shot a little too hard from New Jack. I've seen what that man does to foreheads. I don't want him getting anywhere near my crotch.
I don't want him getting anywhere near my house, my city.
Well, yeah, no. I'm good. But yikes, man. Shane Douglas isn't fully healed from the recent elbow surgery, and apparently the healing has gone so poorly that he will need another surgery in May. So they're working an angle with him and Taz, which is expected to lead to Taz injuring Douglas for a while. I think he wrestled injured in their match, didn't he? Or no, that was his hand I'm thinking of. He's had so many effed up arm injuries, but...
He even had a couple in TNA.
Yeah, I know. He was perpetually in a cast in WCW. But while he's out, Douglas will be joining Joey Styles on commentary. I didn't know that was a thing. I
like the effing music. I need to call this match.
Cut the effing music. Anyway, start wrestling.
I just love that he had a pretty epic theme song. You always call for it to be cut off.
Right. My favorite when wrestlers do that is like when the music has been done playing for like half a minute, and then they're like, cut my music! Like,
Yeah.
Been done, bro. I can't remember what show it was that a commentator actually called him out. They were like, stop playing a while ago.
Sounds like something JR would say in AEW.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, into WCW here. Randy Savage reportedly suffered a torn ACL in a match with Sting that was mentioned last week. He did an angle with him on Nitro to explain why he wasn't there. He's expected to get surgery that will probably keep him out for 6 months or more. Savage was scheduled to face Sting at the Spring Stampede pay-per-view next week, and he is expected to be there, but it will probably be some kind of angle.
I believe he would be gone for a full year and return at the next Spring Stampede as a special referee.
Was that when he returned wearing like the tank top and all that?
I don't know if he was wearing the tank top yet. He might have been. Actually, he might have been. Yeah.
And the tiny ponytail.
Yeah, it was the night DDP finally won the world title.
Ah, okay. And they began their feud.
Yeah. No, I don't think they ever feuded. They had their feud. That was in 1887.
Oh, that's right.
I don't
okay.
even remember where Savage went.
Yeah, because I can't remember.
Do you know that this would lead to a match with Dennis Rodman at Road Wild?
Yeah, because the only thing I remember DDP talking about their feud. I mean, he's went on and on about that feud, obviously, but he talked before about Savage was getting a bad hip, so he couldn't land on his hip for the elbow drop anymore. So he was like full force coming down on people's torsos, and after he did that, DDP said he was pissing blood for days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he said he knocked him loopy with it because he was like walking around backstage like hella confused. But anyway, Davey Boy Smith also blew out his knee on Nitro. There's no word on how bad it is, but he could barely stand for the rest of the match. You remember that? Was he out?
I don't think he was out long, but oh man, this is horrible because this is '98.
Yeah,
he was about to break his back in September.
I know, this is a terrible year, man. It's kind of like '94. We just got done reviewing Spring Stampede 1994, which was the first Spring Stampede for all of you, and he and Ricky Steamboat just had that main event match with Ric Flair. He would transition into a feud with Stunning Steve Austin for the U.S. title, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he would get an injury that would end his career. He got, what was it that he got thrown? He was like going for a superplex.
He was on the second rope. He got tossed back. I think he just fell on his ass.
Yeah, and he messed up his back. Yeah. I know his son had a career-ending injury. That's why, because there for a while I was like, what the hell happened to Richie Steamboat? And come to find out something happened where he got a career-ending injury like very early on in FCW. Scott Norton also blew his knee out on the same show, but it didn't appear to be as bad as Smith. Eddie Guerrero has also been out with a knee injury, which is why he's doing the angle where he makes Chavo work all of his matches for him.
No, he did that because Eddie Guerrero's a spare wrestler.
Yeah, that's it. He even had a T-shirt that said so. I mean, if Norton and Smith weren't in it, and don't get me wrong, I was a British Bulldog fan, but it's not like he was a top guy in WCW. But if it was just Eddie Guerrero, I was going to say, man, his knees gave out on him because he was too busy carrying the undercard.
Good Lord.
But, I mean, Scott Norton also blew his knee out, and he wasn't carrying a damn thing, so. This story, I don't know. I mean, I hadn't heard much about it, but either way, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Meng, Scotty Riggs, and Scott Hall were all backstage at a recent ECW show, mostly just visiting since the two promotions were in the same town. Malenko and Guerrero were openly talking to people in ECW about wanting out of their WCW contracts, which end in November of '99. Malenko in particular has his lawyer working to get him out of the contract. Chris Jericho's contract expires sooner, and he also wants out. Then there's Chris Benoit, whose contract also expires in November of '99. Paul Heyman wants Chris Benoit in ECW more than anyone because he wants to make him the ECW champion, and he believes that he can make Benoit a superstar. WWF is also interested in Rey Mysterio Jr., whose contract is up in a couple of months, but given how much WWF has squandered smaller guys, it's probably not a smart move.
Wouldn't he go on to be 3-time world champion, WWE?
Yeah, but not during, he wouldn't have been if he jumped it this time. So, they hadn't quite
maybe
yet
later
figured
he might have.
Say what?
Maybe he might have later.
Yeah.
It's easy to go off of what we think, but...
Well, I just know, he wasn't much bigger. Wasn't he, kind of Christopher Daniels' size at this time, right? And I know
smaller,
that...
but...
Yeah, and Bruce Pritchard himself said that...
it's also saying that you have to have the world title to be a big star. So.
Well, yeah. He probably would have got thrown in that light heavyweight division, though, and that,
And it might have been better.
Maybe. I would like to hope that he could have, breathed some life into it, but I don't know. You never know. Things that could have been. As far as Benoit going to ECW, I don't care how unhappy he was in WCW, there's no effing way he would have went to ECW in '98. You're with me on that, right? There's no way.
I don't think anybody would go in '98. Anyone with self-respect.
Yeah. Especially these guys.
I know you mentioned Scott Hall, but see what I just said. Anyways.
Wow. And Meng, dude, he was just going to ride it out until he, quit getting paid, I guess. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko.
That was shocking to me, because he was on Nitro every freaking week.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, even argue they overused him.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. Scotty Riggs.
No, he did job a lot, dude. He was, always winning.
No. I said he had a consistent job. Yeah, so not that kind of job. Yeah, no, him and, Barbarian, they did stuff, and he did his own solo stuff.
Too, but then it's he did more solo stuff.
Yeah, that is true. Scotty Riggs did make the jump to ECW, but out of this entire list, Jericho...
Yeah, they definitely got the best one out of the list, to say that.
Yeah, right. Jericho he went to WWF. That was his only option. He wanted WWF or nothing. Malenko and Guerrero eventually did go to WWE along with Benoit. Scott Hall popped up there for a month, if that. So, and then, Meng stayed with WCW, I think, until they closed, right?
No, he came to WWE at Royal Rumble 2001, so a couple months before.
Ah, okay. Well, so he was one of the last rats to jump off the sinking ship.
He literally won the hardcore title and then jumped, and they never spoke of the hardcore title again.
Oh, no!
I know.
Ah. Well, to crown a new champion, they should have had another, dumpster, or no, what was it, the dump battle royal. What the hell? You know what I'm talking about? Where they had the
wasn't a
scrapyard?
Scrapyard, yeah.
Something like
Junkyard.
Junkyard, that's it. The Junkyard battle royal, whatever. There were a bunch of people got really bad injuries. Yeah.
Dude, Finley almost died. It was epic.
I know, right? Raven got, really bad lacerations. It's totally worth it, man. I think Bam Bam got effed up in it. Anyway. Speaking of getting effed up.
Is that why he went to ECW?
Yeah. It's sad that he got injured worse in WCW than he ever did in ECW. He's like, I tried to escape this crap. But anyway, Hulk Hogan's real-life nephew, Horace Boulder, should be starting with WCW soon. I thought he was there before this, but apparently not.
I think he was like a security guard in a couple segments.
Yeah. Horace Boulder, Horace Hogan, if anybody remembers. He was, yeah. I like how he did what Hulk Hogan didn't. He gave in to the baldness and he just shaved his head. He's like, F it, our family has really bad genes. Anyway, speaking of Hulk Hogan, I had to throw this in here because I don't know if you've seen this movie. I'm going to guess no, but you might have because you're a Hulkamaniac. Hulk Hogan's new movie, Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain, was a spectacular bomb, opening at number 33 in its first weekend.
I did see it because I love the Three Ninjas movies.
Oh, man. I have never seen any of them, so I don't know. I have a friend that said he grew up on them, like watching them on a loop. So I didn't even know what they were when I was a kid, honestly. I'd never seen them. But wasn't that the one where he wore the wig?
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up on Nitro wearing the effing wig. That was something.
I think he wrestled at one of the pay-per-views with it.
He did, and it got ripped off. And I just... Was it Piper that took the ripped off his head?
It might have been the match at Halloween Havoc 97 prior to this against... yeah, it was Piper. Was it?
Yeah. I wanted... Yeah, 97 was... I want to say... I'm pretty sure that was Piper. And then 98 was... Yeah, and then it was Warrior in 98. He had some awful Halloween Havoc matches, man. October was a bad time for the Hulkster.
Well, he wrestled his friends. I mean, 96 was Macho Man, 97 was Piper, and 98 was Warrior. I don't know if they were friends, but, whatever.
Yeah, somebody he used to draw money with. 95 was the Giant. That was...
Twice.
Something. Yeah. And he got dry humped from both ends. So, that happened. Anyway, the movie
that's
got...
what Sheik wants to do, right? Break his back and do that and make him humble.
Well, I said dry hump. He doesn't want to dry hump. Anyway, moving on. It got bad reviews, too. Go figure. But that's nothing new, since all of Hogan's movies get bad reviews, but none of them have opened this poorly before.
You gotta make sure to point out, this is not really a Hogan movie. He's in this movie that's already an established franchise.
Yeah. Well, I had to... I found this out, and I threw it in just because it's like, holy crap. Fun fact, back in 1978, a South Korean filmmaker named Shin Sang-ok and his actress wife were both kidnapped by North Korea. They spent 8 years living in North Korea, being forced to produce movies for Kim Jong-il. In 1986, they escaped and defected to the United States, where they resumed their film career. Sang-ok directed and or produced several American movies during the 90s, including, drumroll please, Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain.
Wow. You're going to throw him a bone and go watch it.
Yeah, the dude literally escaped communist North Korea to come over here and drop that on us. Oh, good show, man. Whatever. Hey, you know what? I'm sure he made some money off of it, good, bad, or indifferent. Kind of like Michael Caine said, when they asked him, it's like, have you seen Jaws 3, I think it was, that he was in? And he was like, because it was so awful. He said, I've never seen the movie, but I saw the house that it built, and it's spectacular.
There you go.
Yeah. Dennis Rodman is expected to work at WCW's Bash of the Beach pay-per-view, since he still has one match left on his 3-match WCW contract. Did he? He did, right?
Yeah, this is the one with Karl Malone.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Where DDP and Karl Malone drove the big rig across country for reasons. This is our third Scott Hall mention of the podcast so far, by the way. Speaking of, here's another one. Scott Hall, it's no secret that he and Kevin Nash are wanting out of WCW. Apparently they have gotten, quote, informal word that if they can somehow get out of their WCW contracts, there would be a $1.5 million per year deal waiting for each of them in the WWF, but they still have almost 4 years left in their WCW deals, so that's unlikely. Pretty sure none of this actually happened.
They would literally ride it out and debut in February of 2002.
Yeah, even Nash and Hall haven't, admitted to this, and they're pretty much open books with all this crap, so I'm gonna say this one is bullcrap, but either way. Eric Bischoff did an online chat this week answering fan questions and whatnot. Of note, he strongly denied that Ultimate Warrior would ever work in WCW. Yeah, about that. I'm wondering if he had any idea at this time, or if he was speaking honestly and was like, yeah, never gonna happen.
He could have mentioned it from the standpoint that Warrior would never go.
Yeah.
I mean, just we're assuming that he's saying, I'm never gonna have him. He could have been Warrior telling him no.
Yeah. Because I don't know the timeline of, when he actually popped up, or when they made the deal. Yeah. So by April, I mean, I don't know. It's expected that Goldberg may feud with Steve McMichael over who gets the fourth spot in the new Four Horsemen group that they're talking about creating, with Goldberg ultimately getting the gig. The idea is to create a new Horseman made up of Ric Flair, Lex Luger, Dean Malenko, and Goldberg, and have them managed by Arn Anderson. They're also talking about creating a Canadian group of Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, Davey Boy Smith, and Chris Benoit to feud with the Horsemen. Neither one of these is true, nor did they even come close to happening.
Yeah, that thing with him and McMichael turning into feuding over his Super Bowl ring.
Right. I'm going to say this is just Dave making crap up and pulling it out of his ass. Which he never does, by the way. Just gonna.
It's just, it's weird that this happened.
Yeah, I know. It's almost
like he makes his little thing about this is what I would do.
Right, yeah. It's a rare occasion when Uncle Dave, completely fabricates things. But, this is one of those times, I guess. I'm sorry, I had to throw this in because I thought it was hilarious. There was a porn movie released called Nude World Order.
That was like an inevitable.
Well, funny enough, there was even a small reference to the Observer in the film, although they gave it a different name, quote, so as to not make my reputation any worse, says Uncle Dave.
Leave that alone.
Yeah. Dave says that he didn't even find out about it until after the movie was made and somebody told him. Anyway.
Bullshit.
I know. I'm calling shenanigans on that one, man. Like, you look exactly like the guy that hung out in the back room with the where you need an ID to get in that back room with the tape store.
I saw him there.
Wow. With it doing that weird tongue thing that Bischoff made fun of him for?
I don't know what the hell that is. I don't think I want to know.
He was at an interview and he was like laughing and he randomly puts out his tongue and like it looks like a frickin' lizard. Eric Bischoff went on about it for like a month. He's like, doesn't he look like a frickin' creep? Like, what the hell was that?
Well, that's not why, but yeah. Well,
yeah. Anyway, it looks like it was pretty successful because there are plans to make a Nude World Order 2.
Define successful in that genre.
Oh my gosh. Dude, like, this is porn. Doesn't everything get like 5 sequels?
I don't.
Like,
going
that's
off
kind of
what they say on South Park, yes.
I mean, that's kind of the joke. Where, like, I mean, a bunch of comedians have talked about that. Where they're like, somebody's like, "You want to watch Ass Clappers 5?" It's like, well, I didn't watch 1 through 4, so I'm going to be completely lost on the story here. Well, this one leads into one of our favorite guys, so I had to bring it up. Pro wrestling was part of another negative front page New York Times story this week. Go figure. In '98. No.
Was it that Mushnick dude?
Oh, well, hold on. Which was also published in newspapers throughout the country. The article was about TV ratings going up, while good taste plummets. Along with wrestling, the article also talked about shows like Comedy Central's new hit show South Park, that we mentioned earlier, the WB's Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, Dawson's Creek. James Vanderbeek. My
I thought Dawson's Creek was just like a teen drama.
Was. What?
Yeah, you can, unless they're saying that that's bad taste, I guess,
well, Jungle Boy's dad had a better show.
But... right. And the Jerry Springer Show. WCW has been frequently annoyed by this sort of news coverage because they often get lumped into the same category as WWF, despite WCW not being nearly as violent or lewd and adult-themed as WWF. Yeah, that's what would annoy me about this.
Give us some time, bro. It's coming.
Yeah. Wait, just hold out until next, October? So just give it some time. Speaking of that Mushnick dude, inevitable. Right. Our favorite Mushnick in wrestling, Phil, said about the article, quote, "Credit is due to the New York Times for this page 1 story last week that revealed pro wrestling to be so pervaded with degenerate acts that it's no longer suitable for viewing by children. Pretty sharp observation, given that this story is about 15 years old. If New York Times stays on top of things, it will be able to report that pro wrestling is infested with steroid abuse and other illegal drug use, a story that was about a dozen years old, and that pro wrestlers have the nasty habit of dropping dead or committing suicide at around age 30, a story that's only about 10 years old. For God's sake.
It was not an epidemic. It still is not an epidemic.
Yeah.
What a word to use nowadays.
This idiot, like, even when they're trashing wrestling, he still is like, well, you're about 15 years behind the times. I was doing it before it was cool. Like, okay, so wait a second. Let's go 15 years in the past. That was 1983. Was it really unsuitable for children in 1983?
I want to pull out the 1995 card here.
Like, what the frick, dude? Like, this guy is a complete effing moron. Just in every way, shape, or form. Because he's such an effing idiot and so biased, and obviously terrible at his job.
I think, and clearly I'm not defending him, but I think that when you have a paper or an article, whatever, you have to write to your constituents. So clearly he's trying to appeal to people like that.
Well, I'm sure he fancies himself a journalist, is what I'm getting at. And because he's so biased and so one-sided, and obviously terrible at his job and ill-informed, I'm sure he's won many Pulitzer Prizes. I'm sure he's got like a cabinet full of them. I can almost guarantee he does. Because this kind of crap wins you a lot of awards.
Does he still write or report whatever? Does he still do this to this day?
I hope he doesn't, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything out of him for a while, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Okay, not trying to be funny. Is he alive?
Yeah, he is alive. I know that. I mean, he's not that old, but
I just haven't heard anything about him since WWE, honestly.
Yeah, I think he made his career on that and then hightailed it, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Getting into the WWF stuff here to kind of wind down the news. WrestleMania 14 is expected to wind up as one of the biggest money shows in the history of pro wrestling. The buy rate is estimated to be between the buy rate is estimated to be between 1.76 and 2.27, depending on who you believe.
That's a hell of a gap.
I know, right? Which, when you consider the price of the pay-per-view, is looking to be huge money for WWF and their biggest buy rate in a long time. Yeah, I would argue it's one of the big things that turned the tide in the wrestling war. So, kind of on that same subject of Mania 14 here. The latest on Shawn Michaels is that he never went to see a doctor after his WrestleMania match, so it doesn't look like he aggravated the injury, which was a concern. When he went into the match with 2 herniated discs. Shawn is expected to take some time off to heal up, quote, and hopefully get his other problems under control, end quote. There's no timetable on how long he'll be out. If rest and rehab doesn't work, he may need back surgery, which will keep him out much longer. Uncle Dave claims that in the weeks Uncle Dave claims that in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, people backstage were calling Shawn Michaels Louie as a reference to Louis Spicoli, since his pill problem is getting so bad. Yeah. I mean...
Okay, I don't believe that, nor is it even remotely funny.
Yeah. Was Spicoli dead at this point?
Yeah, he just died, I believe, in January. Maybe February. Yeah, February, because I was at Super Brawl when they wrote the in memoriam thing on there. I didn't even know about it.
That's right. Yeah, we covered that Super Brawl. Super Brawl 6. Go back and listen.
I don't know the numbers. I'll just tell you it was 98.
Or, I'm sorry, Super Brawl 8? Yeah. Either way.
No, I mean, I don't know the numbers. It was 98.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying, well, the only way I can keep track of them is Super Brawl 1 was in 91, and then, just... Oh. So, there you go. That's the only way I've been able to keep track of them, to be honest with you.
That's what I do with WrestleMania. How old am I? Okay, that's what WrestleMania is.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so, either way, yeah, like you were saying, that's not funny. And, like, who the hell is saying that? And how would Uncle Dave know? Yeah. I mean, although I will say this, Shawn Michaels has admitted that his pill problem was way out of control. So, I mean, still doesn't give anybody the right to make that kind of a crack at him, but yeah.
No, and what's ironic here is that's the, you're gonna have a problem with drugs. That's the least of them, I would think.
Yeah, well, he said he was still doing pills, like, even when he was a dad, and he said what turned it around was he was, like, passing out on the couch from being so high one night, and his kid said something about, Daddy's really sleepy or something like that, and he was like, oh, my kid's starting to notice my issues. He's like, maybe I should not do this anymore. Because he said he didn't want to give his kids memories of, Dad zonked out on the couch from pills. Which, good for him, Anyway.
He's doing fine now, so we're good.
Oh, yeah. And if we're talking about, actual return to the WWF, he popped up, was it 99? As
yes.
GM? Or commissioner, I mean? Yeah. It was before WrestleMania 15. That's right. Yeah. So, and then, if we're talking actual in-ring return, it wasn't until August of 2002 he had his first match back. So, the 4-year layoff, well, 4.5.
Back better than he ever was.
I know. Who can say that? I know just this past Wednesday we talked about Edge and Daniel Bryan coming back and not missing a step, but, and Christian too. Somebody else who's had medical issues here, Earl Hebner is still hospitalized in the ICU after suffering a brain aneurysm the night before WrestleMania. Word is that he's starting to get his memory back as he was unable to recognize his friends and family initially. I didn't know that was a freaking thing.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, good for him.
That must be why Austin made it a point to celebrate with him at Rock Bottom. I don't know why I always remember that. They were like celebrating top of the Buried Alive thing together. It was like, with a ref? That's weird, but...
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing he talked about his memory of Earl Hebner was, and we covered this SummerSlam now in the archives, SummerSlam 98, right?
Go back in the archives.
Yeah. Where he said he got knocked out by Taker, and Earl Hebner leans in, he's like, where am I? He's like, you in the garden, kid.
Somebody give me a beer!
Crack a beer and wave it in front of his nose. It'll wake him up. Speaking of getting knocked out, though, WWF has no plans to use Mike Tyson again now that the angle has wrapped up. At the post-WrestleMania press conference, Tyson referred to Shawn Michaels as Steve Michaels.
Wow.
Which is up there with his Royal Rumble promo, calling Austin Cold Stone Steve Austin. Because, we all love that beer-flavored ice cream.
Oh, man. I forgot about that Cold Stone one.
Yeah. And now he's, I didn't catch his latest appearance, but his first appearance, he was falling asleep on AEW TV during a title match. So there's that.
Oh, yeah. It was something.
Yeah. Like, what was the point? Like, I still don't understand the point of him being out there. It's like, that...
Well, he gets to join the Inner Circle.
Yeah.
Because they just hated each other a couple weeks ago, and now they're BFFs.
Right. Well, they're baby faces now, Greg. So everything changes. Staying with the Boxers, Butterbean still has one contracted appearance left in the WWF, though it's unknown when they'll bring it back.
Oh, yeah, they will.
WrestleMania. Gosh. John Tenta is being brought back to the WWF, but will likely be given a new gimmick and as a masked wrestler.
Wow, I wonder how that's going to go.
Right. He was...
I find it ironic to laugh at, but he couldn't be that because he lost weight, which good for him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn, you're not like all morbidly obese anymore. Now we need
but he was still a big dude. Like,
yeah, he was, but I don't look back at it.
I know he wasn't like. Well, my thing is just like they were like, well, he lost too much weight to the earthquake. Like, why? Just get him a smaller singlet. Like, he was still pretty big.
That's literally, from what I heard, the excuse why they didn't have Akeem in the gimmick battle royal, because he lost too much weight, so they went with one man game.
Yeah. Like you said, it's like, dude, how, like, just get a smaller Dashiki.
Yeah, you only, you can only be like 500 pounds over one of those.
Right. Final story here to wrap it up. The Monday Night Ratings War is getting interesting now that WWF has closed the gap and ratings records are being set nearly every other week. Nitro just barely beat Raw this week, but WCW's 80-plus week winning streak is definitely in danger. Spoiler, this one snapped it, so that's why we're covering it, actually. But, yeah, so that's all I have. We'll talk about them snapping the 83-week streak, the end of Raw here, but you ready to take our next break and dive into this one?
I think.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're diving into Monday Night Raw.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at @MainEvent_Marks, and on Instagram at @MainEvent_Marks and at Main Event Collector.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. My name is Thomas, and what's your name?
I'm Alan.
Alan.
Yeah. We're brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Same mother and father.
Your room was...
We shared the room.
Shared a room.
We shared the room.
Thought I knew your face.
Yeah, we go way back, mate. Yeah.
We should do a podcast then.
We have.
We do a podcast.
We do a podcast.
What's it called?
The
Broadcast.
Yeah, that was planned.
Yeah. Well.
What do we do?
Well, we cover all different things in the world of pop culture. We're talking about comic books, we're talking about professional wrestling, and we're talking about movies. Go back and watch classic retro wrestling events, the likes of WWE, WCW, and if you do like that, you can check us out on Apple iTunes, also on Podbean, Anchor, and on Podknife. Also check us out on Twitter at The Broadcast. That's BROKAST. Nearly stuffed up the ending.
Yeah, it's alright, good on you.
Yeah. Instagram also at The Broadcast Podcast.
Remember, we don't spell it with a C, we spell it with a K.
Sorry, mate.
Take it easy.
The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we are back. Just to let you know before we dive into the show here, subscribe and leave a 5-star review if you are listening on the podcast platform. And if you are listening to on Unhinged, we play every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. And you can hear us again. The replay is at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on unhingedsn.airtime.pro. All right, let's get into Raw. We're coming in hot like Mae Young's hand, baby.
Oh my God. No.
All right. It's Monday Night Raw is War number 255. The date is April 13th, 1998, from the Core State Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The attendance, 16,237 marks, and the TV rating was an astounding 4.6. That's a lot of people. We start off with highlights of the Austin McMahon feud. Basically just, I think it was from was it the previous week or a couple of weeks before? There's, McMahon tried to turn the new WWF champion, Steve Austin, into more of a corporate champion. Austin comes out in a suit, but he rejects it, takes the suit off.
Might have been the week before, yeah.
And he punches McMahon right in the crotch. And then we get the epic Thorn in Your Eye theme open. I like that one. Unfortunately, our commentary team to start off is Jim Ross and Michael effin' Cole. But anyway, they hype up the show before we are graced with the presence of WWF champion Stone Cold Steve Austin. Quick note, I love the dark blue strap Big Eagle title that he had. It's one of my favorites. I don't know why.
I absolutely despise that one.
Really?
Blue title was just ugly.
I just love that dark blue strap. I even had a toy of that, like, that, can fit on a human.
I think I have that one right here. He's got all the titles. The Fighting Moments one.
No, I had one that, could fit, like a human. The big package ones. Also, a lot of people also disagree with me. I love the Undisputed title. Well, a lot of people said that one was hideous.
Yeah, I love that one too.
So, Austin looked like every white dad at a barbecue with his tank top tucked into his blue jeans with a belt on and his wristwatch.
So he looked Texan.
Basically. Austin tells Vince McMahon that he's going to stand out in the ring and hold up the show until McMahon comes out. Finally, Vince slowly comes through the curtain, looking worried, and he has Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson, the Stooges, flanking him. Austin promises not to hit Vince, but Vince calls security out with him anyway. They're wearing riot gear, which JR and Cole make fun of. When McMahon and Austin come face to face finally, Austin asks McMahon who he's facing at the next pay-per-view, which would be In Your House Unforgiven. McMahon
I believe
says
it's 2 weeks away, by the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I find funny because they set up the main event 13 days prior.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And what's even more funny is there was no definitive opponent at this point.
Yeah.
It happens obviously later, so it's like they just threw him in there.
Yeah, because like you said, they set it up. They set it up sort of here, but they don't announce it here. So it's like, yeah. So they announce it, what, a week or 2 weeks before or something like that? So yeah. But McMahon says that he hasn't made his mind up yet. Some moron in the crowd is shining a laser pointer on Vince and Austin throughout this entire segment, like they're waiting to hear whether or not they should take the shot.
This happens like every show.
Yeah, I'm glad they outlawed them after a while. But Austin,
they outlawed them, they just became not cool anymore.
Or that, yeah. Austin tells McMahon that he's aware that Vince hates his lack of education, his attitude, his language, and his sign language. So he finally says that Vince himself wants to be WWF champion, and he asks Vince to confirm it, saying that before Vince gave him the new Big Eagle title, he probably walked around his house in his pajamas wearing the title, pretending to be the champion. I like when he said, probably asked your wife, it's like, hey, honey, how do I look as champion? And she said, you look like a jackass.
You want to look like Dr. Jerry Graham.
Right. Austin tells the crowd that he will defend the WWF title tonight against Mr. Vince McMahon. McMahon's eyes bug out, and he talks with his stooges about it. Austin says, quote, we can do things the easy way or the hard way. But Vince wants more details. Austin says that the easy way is Vince handpicks an official who faces him tonight in the main event. He says the hard way is dragging a cameraman to McMahon's office so that the world can see Austin beat McMahon's ass anyway. Austin said that he's giving McMahon 30 minutes to make a decision, and Vince can't escape because Austin beat up his limo driver and slashed his tires. This takes us to commercial. I like how...
Because you can only escape in a limo.
Yeah, right. Well, they didn't have Uber back then. And he would have went with Uber Black because he can afford the upgrade. Anyway, that takes us to commercial. Coming back from commercial, a cameraman is peeking around the corner into Vince McMahon's office like he's spying on him.
Because that's not creepy.
Yeah, right. McMahon's freaking out, and the Stooges are telling him that he needs to finish this thing with Austin. Stand up to him. And that leads us into our first match of the night. It's a tag team match of the DOA, Skull and 8-Ball, with chains in their corner, taking on Los Boricuas, which was Savio Vega and Jose Estrada.
Because we had to have this match once a week.
Yep. It was a Chains match, which I thought was ironic that Chains was not in it. It went technically for 2 minutes. Before the match starts, D-Generation X comes to the ring, so you know hijinks will ensue. I guess the point of this match was that all four men were chained to the corner, but they had enough slack to beat each other up throughout the ring. So, whatever.
Logic.
Yeah. DOA's third member, Chains, gets absolutely destroyed by DX with chairs, beating him down and hitting their finishers on the chairs. DX finally jumps in and helps the Boricuas beat down the DOA. The referees throw the match out because, you know, no DQ matches still can't have finishes on Monday nights. We talked about we didn't grade this. I gave it a 1 star, but I mean, it sucked. You can't really grade these things, so. But anyway, after the match, DX celebrates with Vega and Estrada, who do the suck it taunt, allowing China to sneak up behind them and low blow them both. DX then destroys the two men.
To a major ovation, I might add.
Yeah. That's all China really did at this point, was she just low-blowed people. She just made a career out of low blows for like 3 years. But DX destroys the two men, and Triple H hits the ugliest-looking pedigree on Vega, who didn't even jump. He just kind of like slumped down. Chains gets stretchered out of the arena. The reason for that was because just before WrestleMania, Chains, real name Brian Lee, showed up to work, quote, in no condition to perform, and he was sent home. He almost got fired, but was spared since he's friends with The Undertaker, and he was allowed to work his scheduled WrestleMania match. So this was leading to his suspension. I don't know.
Because there is that tag battle royal, but like Shane's Skull and 8-Ball were in it, so.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Was he in a dark match, maybe? I don't know. It's weird. Backstage, Shane McMahon joins the Stooges to talk to his dad. The Stooges say that Vince needs to fight Austin, whereas Shane says that he's going to get hurt and he should stay out of the ring. This takes us to commercial again. After the commercial break, Mr. McMahon comes to the ring alone, while Too Much, and I don't think were they officially Too Much at this point, or were they about to be?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because I saw an article where it made a big deal out of, they're like, well, they're finally getting nicknames, and it's like, cool, I guess? I don't know.
Well, Brian Christopher already had one, so.
Yeah, he was too sexy, and Scott Taylor was too hot, Scott Taylor, and together they were too much.
And you can see what that evolved into.
Yeah, something 1,000 times better. But anyway, it was Too Much and some random luchadors that looked like a ripoff of La Parka and Psychosis in the ring. They were waiting for their match to start. McMahon basically shoos them off and cuts a promo, letting us know we shouldn't give a damn about them. Vince talks about the heritage of the World Wrestling Federation and says that it stands for honor, whereas Stone Cold Steve Austin has no honor. He then says, sometimes a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and says, am I going to face Stone Cold Steve Austin in this ring tonight? Oh, hell yeah. And then he leaves the ring while the Stooges come out applauding him and slapping him with high five, slap hands.
What the hell was that?
You know, was that the Water Boy where they're like, slap hands, slap hands? Just going for high fives. I can't remember. It was some Adam Sandler movie. Anyway, JR randomly says that he's going to make sure that this Austin McMahon match does not happen, and he goes to leave. On JR's way out, the lights drop. Michael Cole thinks it's Kane, but the gong sounds, and the Undertaker comes out. The two teams from earlier get back in the ring, and the Undertaker does what Kane usually does, and destroys the crap out of him. Brian Christopher escapes, however, and he drags Scott Taylor to safety, and after getting tombstoned, Undertaker grabs the microphone and he calls Kane out. With the second, I'm holding the show up until I get what I want segment of the night, Undertaker says that this night of hell will go on for eternity until Kane shows his face. This takes us into commercial. He didn't follow through on it, though, because I thought he was going to hold the show up, but nope, we go to commercial, and he's gone. And no Kane, so
he's busy doing something.
Coming back from commercial, an exasperated Kevin Kelly is backstage, telling us that no one is going to talk Mr. McMahon out of fighting Stone Cold tonight. You know, you don't trash talk Kevin Kelly, Greg, or Uncle Dave will tell you to go die.
Just die.
Yeah. They show footage from during.
Man, real quick, like, why is that the one he'll tell you to die for?
Because he commentates for New Japan, so must defend.
Yeah, but like, of all the guys he jerks to, that's the one. Like, if you insult, you need to die. What if you insult like Omega or Okada?
Well, then you need to go die for them too. You know his standards.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, I like Kevin Kelly, but I wouldn't be sitting there telling people to die because they have a differing opinion than me. Like, what the F, dude? What is wrong with you? Yeah, just throw that into the bucket of effed up things Uncle Davis said.
Can't. Right, it's already full.
Right there along with the Iconics are gaining weight. They show footage from during the break where JR and Shane McMahon are arguing with the Stooges about whether or not Vince should fight Stone Cold tonight. Vince interrupts them, arguing to tell Shane to go get his gym bag from his car, and tells JR to get back to the commentary table.
I just bought a new house, man. I can't do that. I can't.
The hell. Oh, yeah.
There was like remember that? It's like,
yeah.
God, did that sound any more like selfish? I don't care what happens to him. I need my job though.
Yeah, it's like Austin, please don't kill my boss. I really need my mortgage.
The mortgage is due next week, man.
Yeah, right. I need his name on the check. At that point, he's like, oh, thank God I get direct deposit.
Right.
But this next segment, man, was well, there's not really an easy way to describe this, but it was Jeff Jarrett with Tennessee Lee versus Taka Michinoku. It went for 3 minutes, I guess. I'm just going off what the internet says these times were. I don't think they were accurate, but it doesn't really matter. Michael Cole puts over that Jeff Jarrett will be singing lead for country band Sawyer Brown at Unforgiven as flyers for it drop from the ceiling. To remind us that this match doesn't effing matter, we get a side-by-side interview with Steve Blackman from backstage. Because, if you're going to interrupt the match...
a random-ass feud, by the way. But...
I know. Well, Greg, if you're going to interrupt a match for anybody's interview, it better be Steve Blackman.
Yeah, because we all know how great he is on the mic.
Right, yeah. Future member of Head Cheese. Blackman says that he's going to get...
he's done like a million things, and that's what you pick?
A million things? Like what?
He was the hardcore champion and all the stuff he did while being hardcore champion.
Well, yeah, I'm picking Head Cheese. Going with that. Anyway, Blackman says he's going to get revenge on Jeff Jarrett soon. After Jarrett dominates most of the match, Taka gets the advantage before being jumped by Club Kamikaze, which was apparently Kai and Tai. This led to a disqualification. I don't remember them being called Club Kamikaze.
I think that's what they were in ECW.
Wow. Yeah, well, they changed that name freaking quick. I don't remember that sticking for very long. But what was it? Men's Teiyao, Funaki, and I forget the third one. Oh, what was it? Dick to Go.
I thought you were saving that for last on purpose.
I forgot. How can I forget Dick to Go, man? Anyway. All three members of Club Kamikaze beat Taka down before Jeff Jarrett gets back in the ring, locks in a figure four leg lock on Taka. After a few moments, he breaks it, pops up, and he struts while Tennessee Lee cheers him on. Jeff Jarrett, who's getting a new podcast with Conrad, by the way. That'll fill out all 7 days for Conrad. Because, you need 7 days of Conrad Thompson. Are you going to listen to the...
Roll Tide.
Dude,
I've barely been listening. I only listen to Bischoff for the most part.
Yeah. Bruce Pritchard has dropped maybe 3 new shows in the last 3 months. So he's pretty much
kind of busy.
Yeah, I would say.
Considering how good most of these shows have been, yeah, I'd say he's been busy.
Yeah.
I hope he never leaves again.
Well, the Angle show is pretty good. I like that one. Tony Schiavone's show is kind of dumb, and it's a slog because they do watch-alongs. It's 3 hours. And then Arn Anderson's hit and miss. So, but anyway, we go back to Stone Cold Steve Austin's locker room. Jim Ross interviews him remotely, asking Austin if he's surprised that McMahon accepted his challenge. Austin said he's not surprised because he didn't give Vince any choice, and he's going to take his problem he's going to get this problem between them solved tonight. This takes us into another break. And when we come back, the Stooges are giving Vince advice in his locker room on how to effectively take down Austin and beat him. Pat Patterson doesn't look like he could beat many people up at that age, but from what I heard about Jerry Briscoe, he could probably beat up half of that locker room in 1998. He's a grandpa you don't want to mess with. Anyway,
does he wear a fanny pack?
No, he leaves that for Michael P.S. Hayes. Dude. Some random rap music hits, and Faarooq comes to the ring with his ribs taped. I don't remember him using that theme. I forgot about this era of Faarooq. But he's getting
for a week.
Well, he's getting cheered at this point because the Nation of Domination turned on him and beat him up in a parking lot the week before. Faarooq grabs the mic and he calls out Rocky Maivia, saying that he may have cracked one of Farouk's ribs and bruised him up, but he's going to give Rocky another chance to beat him down. The Rock comes out in his street clothes, his very, very shiny shirt, flanked by the Nation of Domination, saying that Faarooq doesn't call the shots. You can kind of hear the genesis of some of the Rock's catchphrases during this promo, because he uses the millions and millions line as kind of almost like a throwaway thing. He doesn't hold it out like in future years. Faarooq finally pops up his fist, and behind the Nation comes out Ken Shamrock, Steve Blackman, who they all brawl with the Nation. Faarooq joins in, singles out the Rock, and security hits the ring to break him up. The brawl leads us into another commercial break. This is a random trio. I mean, I guess Not really, because wasn't Shamrock and Blackman had issues with the Nation, right?
Yeah, Shamrock is still feuding with The Rock. I believe they wrestled WrestleMania, so.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But, yeah, it was just kind of, it's like Faarooq's like, well, I guess we're friends now? And I'm like, sure.
Remember all the time I was on the Nation beating your ass? I didn't mean it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry for, using some racial slurs against you guys back in the day. Can we, water under the bridge, right? Coming back from commercial break, they show us a replay of Cactus Jack telling the world that he gave every bit of energy he could to the crowd in a match against Steve Austin, and it will be a long time before we see Cactus Jack in the ring again.
Nope, he was talking about the cage, not against Austin.
Wait, what?
He was talking about the cage.
What do you mean?
When he said, I gave you every bit I had, he goes, it was the cage with the New Age Outlaws, and he got mad because they were chanting for Austin.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Terry Funk now comes out to Cactus Jack's theme. He says Cactus Jack, quote, waddled his way out of the arena and quit, all because the fans were chanting, Austin, Austin. I can give a damn what the fans chant. To which they cheer, by the way. I love that. He then says it's
F us!
Yeah, right. We are assholes. But he says that his new partner is hardcore, and Vince McMahon never gave him a chance, but Terry Funk will. Alrighty. And he keeps putting over, I'm bringing the funk, he's bringing the funk. It's like, you're like beating it home what you're talking about, because it's not going to be Dory. But Cactus Jack's music hits again, and we pan the crowd to see Straw Hat Guy in an Austin 316 shirt under his Hawaiian shirt. Right. The mystery partner who Terry keeps calling the Funk is the former Flash Funk, now apparently going by Too Cold Scorpio. So,
well,
hey,
I don't think he did yet. I think Jim Ross made that comment. He looks a little too cold, if you ask me.
Yeah, they made a couple of comments about it. I think they called him Scorpio at one point during the match, and he wore tights that say Too Cold Scorpio on them. But I don't know. And he wore the Funk U t-shirt of Terry Funk's. So, yeah. Anyway, this one was
good stuff right here, man. This is money.
Right. It was Terry Funk and Too Cold Scorpio versus the Quebecers, which was Jacques Rougeau and Pierre Carl Houlet.
Who were still a thing in 1998.
I know. Jerry the King Lawler joins the commentary now to make it a three-man team. You've got to love the team of the Mountie and the Pirate as the Quebecers. That was good stuff. Funk and Scorpio win with Too Cold hitting a 450 splash on PCO for the pinfall. This was nothing. And we're moving on. And, yay, Luna Vachon comes to the ring next in a sailor's cap, and she grabs a microphone and she screeches in her Drano gargling voice. She says that the anticipation for her evening gown match at Unforgiven with Sable is worse than PMS. Just like,
God.
She then says something about the flow, and then specifically says that it's the flow of her adrenaline that she's talking about. Sure. Yeah. Someone on hard cam during the segment has a sign that said, "Who's Goldberg blowing?" Philly, man. Effing Philly. But now we get a completely different show open, by the way, for the Warzone to the song All Together Now. This one had the wrestlers fighting in a ring in a warehouse with the ropes on fire. Did you prefer one theme over the other? This one?
Yeah,
or the
this
other
one.
You like, okay.
I hated the other one. I couldn't even understand the words.
No. The only words you can understand are like the last ones. Is that thorn in my eye? Or thorn in your eye, whatever? Yeah, that's literally it. Anyway, back in the arena, Sable's music hits, but the artist formerly known as Goldust comes out in a wig, an evening gown, and high heels. I will admit, some of the stuff he was saying made me laugh during the segment. Goldust comes to the ring trying to impersonate Sable, and he said he's going to kick Luna's ass now. Luna takes him down, they roll around, Goldust keeps making joke comments about Luna hurting him, and how he'll help her undress him. Finally, he helps Luna take his evening gown off, and he's wearing Spanx. So I needed to see that. After all of this, the real Sable rushes the ring and hair beals the hell out of Luna, before attempting to disrobe her. Goldust helps pull Luna to safety. Referees hit the ring, and the heels take a powder. This takes us to commercial. What the hell did we just watch, man?
Dude, this is money.
Yeah. I remember, according to Bruce Pritchard, like, Luna and Sable legit hated each other, and Luna, like, was constantly causing issues with Sable. And then when they bring her back, she was like, I won't hurt your effing queen. It's like, well, I hope not.
Actually paired up for a minute in the summer.
Wow. Well, after the commercial break, we now see Steve Austin lacing up his boots in anticipation for the main event as King and JR hype it up on commentary. They're now the only two people on commentary. Michael Cole took off. And we get Ken... I know. We now get Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman taking on the new Midnight Express of Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart. They have Jim Cornette and Dan Severn in their corner. This went just shy of 4 minutes, making it the longest match of the night thus far.
That's sad.
And we're into the second hour. Mother of God. I mean, people complain there for a while of lack of wrestling on a 3-hour Raw now. Go back to 98. All right.
They're clearly not watching Raw then because it's nothing but wrestling for the most part.
No, not this was a couple of years ago when they were doing they were concentrating more on like segments or whatever. But it was nowhere near as bad as this. Anyway, nothing screams these guys are important like giving jobber entrances to the NWA Tag Champions.
Yeah.
Shamrock and Severn square up.
You gotta cut off the entrances so you can pack the action.
Of course. And we gotta see another shot of Stone Cold lacing up his boots. Can't have entrances. Shamrock and Severn square up on each other before the bell in a preview of something that we will never see, while JR hypes that they are 1-1 against each other in, quote, the ultimate fighting world. The referee instantly boots Severn from ringside. I like how JR mocks Bombastic and Bodacious as their nicknames, saying, are those marketing geniuses? I can see them on bumper stickers across the United States. Oh, man. In the end, everyone gets in the ring, and the referee disqualifies everyone, getting no one over in the process. So if you're keeping track, we haven't had a clean finish all night. We haven't had a finish all night.
Bro, we don't need a finish, bro.
Nobody cares about who wins and loses, bro. Nobody remembers. Backstage, Kevin Kelly.
Until all this gets archived on a freaking network and you can see it.
Yeah, and then you're like, brr. Backstage, Kevin Kelly standing by as the Stooges are hyping up Vince McMahon in his locker room. Kelly asks Vince if he's nervous to fight Steve Austin. McMahon says he'd be lying if he said he wasn't nervous, but he wasn't afraid of the United States government, Ted Turner and Time Warner, the Big Bad Wolf. He's not afraid of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. Well, then, fast forward 8 years, and he's gonna defeat God.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, the
Headbangers. Can say that.
Yeah. I'm gonna move on. The Headbangers of Mosh and Thrasher in the ring. Yeah. The Headbangers are in the ring, which, I'm sure the ratings shot up for this segment.
They had my eyes.
When the lights drop, and commentary thinks it's Kane again, but swerve, bro! It's the Undertaker for a second time, bro. Never saw it coming.
Hey, this actually was a swerve, because I really thought it was Kane.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, the first time and this time, because that was Kane's MO, as they were pointing out, was he came out every week, and beat up jobbers, and left. Set somebody on fire, all that jazz. That old chestnut. But the Headbangers jump on Undertaker as soon as he gets in the ring, but Taker beats him down, tombstones Thrasher and chokeslams Mosh. The lights drop again, and finally, Kane comes out onto the stage, followed by Paul Bearer. Paul tells Undertaker that next week on Monday Night Raw, Taker will face Kane, but not in the ring. He says they will meet in the cemetery so that they can fight right on the Undertaker's parents' graves. Oh, yeah.
Sign me up.
Was this the same segment where he took a sledgehammer to the tombstones and lit them on fire? Or was that before this?
Might have been after this, actually.
I think it was. I want to say it was in their lead up to their Mania match, but I could be wrong because he kept doing.
Undertaker never touched him for the most part. So.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying because I think he did that in the lead up to their Mania match. Is kind of one of those like, look what I'm doing, face me now, kind of thing. Because every week was something. If people want to, a quick recap, he set their graves on fire. He exhumed their bodies and chokeslammed Undertaker through their caskets. The usual.
I think that's coming up at the next one you just talked about.
Okay, well, either way, it was around this time period, and it just like, oh man, it was
because they hadn't even revealed that Paul Bearer was his dad yet.
I've been parking your mama. Anyway, after the commercial break, we get a vignette where a hand knocks on a dressing room door, and Val Venus opens the door wearing nothing but a towel and a smile. And a beautiful woman in a robe sits on a couch behind him. He says that he's filming his new movie, Lust in Space, before he sits on the couch. Another woman sits on the other side of him with her breast completely out but pixelated. Val says that people have Venus envy, and he's going to explode into the World Wrestling Federation, and he's going to give it his all, inch by inch. How many freaking innuendos can you throw in? Like, this is like...
all of them!
You can't tell me that Russo didn't watch Joel Gertner and was like, bro, we can do it better, bro.
Well, he did.
But we end with a graphic saying, Val Venus is coming.
Yeah.
Another one. I remember these. Just, gosh, he had Jenna Jameson in one of them. I think that was Shaving Ryan's Privates or something.
Oh, that was Ryan Shamrock. That's
right. I forget. They were all just like, what the hell? Keeping on with the innuendos. New Generation X comes to the ring again before Owen Hart's music plays, and he comes onto the stage with a mic saying one of them is going to get their asses kicked tonight. Triple H says that to determine who would face Owen, he had everybody in DX write 500-word essays before making a bunch of dirty jokes, because, that's what they do. In the end, they determined that Billy Gunn would face Owen tonight because his was by far the best, including a picture of Owen with a small barnyard animal.
Yeah.
That was something.
This was supposed to be DX in full heel mode, and people were just not hating it, so.
Yeah, because...
within a couple of weeks, they would be face, and Owen would go back to being heel.
They were doing the same crap they did on South Park, and people loved South Park. Why would this get booed? Like, yeah, they beat up the baby faces, but like earlier, they beat up Los Boricuas.
Yeah, but really, like, who? I mean, sorry, no offense, but like, it's not exactly Austin.
I know, that's what I was saying. It's like
Owen Hart. I mean,
Owen was always like, I don't think he ever like was a full. I mean, even when he was in quote unquote full face mode, I don't think he ever had a huge crowd backing because he was such a damn good heel. So, and I'm not. That's no insult to Owen. He was just a really good heel. People loved to boo him. But I mean, the rest of it's like they beat up Los Boricuas, like. Cool?
No,
who cares?
Not them.
Yeah, not Jose Estrada.
Why is that the one?
Because he was in the match earlier where they beat him up. Him, the only ones I can remember is him and Savio Vega. Was it Jesus Castillo or something like that? Was the other one? I don't even remember. Anyway,
sure.
As backup, Owen gets LOD 2000 and Sonny coming out behind him. I have Jack's figures of them. Not of Sonny, but of the other two. We cut from
I have the uber rare Mattels of them.
Oh, well, screw you. I have Mattels of regular LOD, not 2000.
No, I just meant LOD.
Ah, okay. Are they loose or do you still have
Hell
them in the
no.
package? Oh, okay. Mine came loose off of eBay, so that's the only reason why. But we cut from this scene to show Mr. McMahon working out backstage before a commercial break. We come back to Mr. Ass Billy Gunn with DX in his corner, taking on Owen Hart with LOD 2000 in his corner. This was the longest match of the night at 8.5 minutes. This was an actual match. Triple H and X-Pac are on commentary for this one, cracking Jerry Lawler up the entire time. Triple H calls Sonny skanky. During the match, Owen got to pull Billy's trunks down, showing everyone his ass.
His magnificent ass.
Oh, well, of course. I was shocked that this match actually gets a commercial break during it, the only one of the night. The match ends with a schoolboy pin out of nowhere from Owen to Billy. I actually gave this one 2 stars because it was watchable. But you said you didn't rate any of them, but did you actually think this one was halfway decent, or?
I felt like it was over right as it was getting decent.
Yeah, that's true. I always thought Billy was a good wrestler, but I guess the reason they didn't push him as a singles guy too much is they said he had really bad asthma. That's why they always put him in tag matches. But anyway, DX finally hits the ring after the match, but Owen takes powder and takes off with LOD 2000. They all taunt the angry DX as they leave. We go backstage one more time to see the Stooges accompanying Vince McMahon to ringside. He gets the Goldberg-style entrance with a full entourage. He comes out with Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe, Commissioner Sergeant Slaughter, and then Shane McMahon comes out to try to talk him out of the match yet again. Before the match, after Austin comes out, Vince tells Austin, you said you could beat Vince McMahon with one arm tied behind your back. By the way, was that a previous week? Because I thought he said it earlier in the show, but I didn't hear him say it at all on this one.
He did say it, yeah.
Okay, I must have missed it, because I was listening.
It's really
I can't remember.
Quick. So not like something he flat out says. He just says it in passing.
Ah, okay. Well, either way, he said he pulls out a rope from his pocket and he tells Gerald Briscoe to tie up Austin's stunner arm behind his back.
Oh, yeah, he makes it clear to say, I want a stunner arm.
Yeah. As a kid, I didn't think, I thought that was pretty clever because I didn't think about it. It's like, oh yeah, he only ever does it with one arm. All right. As if he can't be, he'd be like, wait, how do I do it with my left? I can't figure it out. After being tied up, Austin says, if you want me to whip his damn ass with one arm tied behind my back, give me a hell yeah. And McMahon says, if you want to see me beat his ass with one arm tied behind his back, give me a hell yeah. And the crowd yells back, hell no!
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. Real quick, before we get into the close of the show, let's take our second to last break. When we come back, we're gonna wrap up the closing segment here of Monday Night Raw.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Fanatics offers the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and gear from all the leagues, teams, and players that you love, including the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, NCAA, NASCAR, soccer, and golf. They even offer esports gear for the gamers among us. You can shop by brand, sport, team, or player. And if you sign up for Fan Cash, you get exclusive weekly deals. So head on over to Fanatics.com today. Fanatics is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. Just when this match is about to start, it doesn't start, by the way. I'm going to put that out there now. Hippie music hits, and Dude Love comes to the ring, saying that he's the only dude who can bring some love to the war zone. He makes it clear that he's on Vince McMahon's side because he writes the checks. However, when Dude Love says Austin can put McMahon down, Vince shoves Dude down on his ass. Dude then tries to put the mandible claw on McMahon. Austin tries to stop him for reasons, and Dude Love turns around to put Austin down to the mandible claw before beating him up and locking in the mandible claw again. Everyone holds McMahon back from the ring during the assault. Austin eventually fights back a bit, and they brawl all over ringside. So, like we alluded to earlier, they didn't really they were setting up the main event, but they didn't make it official here. Was it the next week where they make that official for Unforgiven?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Because I know when you pull up every episode of Raw, they'll show you the little picture, the thumbnail. And the one for the next week was, didn't he call it the Dude Shack?
Dude's Shack, yeah.
Dude's Shack, yeah. Where he, put a little set on the stage, make it look like it came out of that 70s show or something.
With a complete rip-off of Love Shack theme or song.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that is on that anthology CD. Yeah, I remember that. Yep, and he had blow-up furniture and stuff and little beads. That was funny. But yeah, so and
I feel like you needed a toke one to just enjoy it.
Right. Well, if it was that 70s show a thing during this time, or
this might have been the first season of it actually.
Okay, because what would have made it funny was if they had a little bit of that the dry ice smoke coming up from the stage, and he's sitting around the smoking circle. That'd have been great. Dude, Matt Riddle should bring it back.
Dude, he's one step away from it. Give it time.
I know. Him, RVD, and Randy Orton can all sit around. Dude.
Dude.
Great.
Dude with the dude.
Right. Anyway, the WWF finally ended WCW's 83-week ratings winning streak with arguably the hottest 2-hour show in company history. I guess that's up for debate, but regardless.
It's funny because I've seen way better Raws than this.
Yeah,
even in this era.
The only thing to sell this show, to me, was the main event. And I mean, yeah, that was the thread throughout the whole show, and they pumped it up and whatever, and then it never even happened. So...
Thus affirming Russo's logic that nobody cares.
Yeah, I know.
It's hard to argue with the man when he has good logic like this.
Yeah, because I don't know exactly what was happening on Nitro this night. Do you happen to remember what they, was?
Off the top of my head.
Yeah, so... I don't even know, but it was, I don't know, I'm gonna assume they had a lot more wrestling on their show than this did. I believe that, this was the one, I do know they were in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Target Center, and Jesse Ventura was in the crowd for that one. They didn't show him on TV, but he brought his own camera crew, and I guess it pissed off WCW officials. Yeah, by the way, when I'm looking at, I just pulled up the card real quick, and they have they were all very short. They had a crap ton of matches on the other channel. They had a TV title match, Booker T and La Parka, United States title match, DDP and Rage. Okay.
He was with Kenny Chaos. High Voltage.
Yeah, Chaos.
Rage and Kenny Chaos.
Yeah. Right. The main event was Kevin Nash versus Sting for the world title. And it ended via DQ. So.
Like every Nitro ever.
Yep. So. But anyway, so that was what was going on that channel, that this Raw went up against. So. I don't know. Hey. I didn't watch the Nitro, so I can't comment on whether or not it was any good. But, yeah. It was very contrasting shows, it seems like on paper. But anyway, WCW has been producing stale TV for the last month, while WWF has been riding an incredible wave of momentum, and they've been closing the gap with WCW for weeks. This week, Raw set multiple ratings records, highlighted by Steve Austin challenging Vince McMahon to a match, with Austin having one hand tied behind his back. So, yeah, there you go. It's historic, I'll say that. But we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we'll get into our actual ratings of the show and tell you what's to come next week.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. Fubo TV offers you live sports and TV without the overpriced cable. Fubo TV offers 100 channels, live and on demand, plus over 130 streaming in 4K, and a cloud DVR is included. The Fubo TV app is available on all smart devices, so you can watch what you want when you want. There are no hidden fees, and you can cancel anytime. Cut the cord and sign up for your free trial at Fubo.tv today. Fubo TV is a sponsor of the Main Event Marks and Unhinged Sports Network. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
The final ratings of the show here, IMDb gave it 6.7 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 5.92 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10, just slightly above average. What say you?
I said I had memories came flooding back watching this. That's all I'll say. I don't know how to rate this.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but, whatever. It was what it was. No, it wasn't terrible.
Again, affirming Russo's theory that nobody cares about wrestling. I mean, how do you argue with the man?
Yeah.
This won. So there you go.
Yep, I know. And it's not like they didn't have stars promoted on the other channel this night. This was just the two big stars of the era, McMahon and Austin. But anyway, that does it for our April bonus show. Hope you all enjoyed the 83-week snapper. Next week, on April 28th, on Wednesday, we are covering In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies. It is the 25-year anniversary. The main event was Shawn Michaels and Diesel for the WWF title. And didn't you say this was like Diesel's last pay-per-view?
It might have been his last show, period, but yeah.
Yeah, so from April of 96. So we're going to go back to that. And then we're going into May, but we'll talk more about that next week and what's to come with all of that. Real quick to wrap up, we are sponsored again by Fubo TV and Fanatics. If you want to cut the cord, definitely check out Fubo TV. You don't need overpriced cable. They provide over 100 channels, cloud DVR, no early cancellation fees. You can sign up for a free trial today. And Fanatics has the officially licensed gear from your favorite sports organizations. So check them out. They are Greg approved. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. 5 stars, please, just like good old Uncle Dave. Thank you. And thank you for joining me again today, Greg. Mm-hmm. We will see you all next Wednesday with Good Friends, Better Enemies, In Your House.